Hello, everybody. Welcome to the Championship Check-In podcast. Look at the state of me. The first 3-game week of the EFL season. I'm beat already, but we're here, guys. The normal process in these weeks is we don't feel it's right to do a podcast on the Monday, so we move across to the Thursday. So the main thrust of this will be the round 8 midweek round with a little touch where necessary on the weekend. Sam, really quickly, when you're a player, if you've got one of these 3-game weeks, I know obviously home would be the best, but what's the best configuration of home and away games?
Cool, that's a good question. Probably back-to-back homes, do you reckon?
To set you on? With?
Yeah, to set you on your way and then get away for the older lads from the children and the other half to have a kip with the 6 points in the back pocket. It's funny as your career progresses and the necessity for sleep gets greater and greater, when you get towards the end of your career. I never used to understand it when you're 19, 20. Do you know what I mean? But the older, more experienced boys in bed by 9 o'clock. So it was never wise to stick a young lad rooming with an older player because your lifestyles are so different. I used to be up, till 12, 1 o'clock watching telly, on the phone. And you've got your senior statesman, the 34-year-old centre half in the other bed in your twin room, a kip at 9 o'clock, wanting the lights off. So caught me on the hop, but I would say that maybe get your nice points return on the board, and then there's a little bit less pressure maybe going on your travels.
There you go. It's genuinely one of the big things that you get in EFL football that I think Premier League fans don't understand of how to manage that. And I dare say from the evidence of the watch-along I did, Sam, last night, Bristol City, Sheffield Wednesday, which is the only time I'm going to mention it because it was awful. You do get those very grindy, let's not make a mistake, let's just get out of Dodge and, we'll concentrate on the Saturday games. But
just quickly, We're nicely coordinated here, mate, in our pastels as well. I don't know if they qualify as pastel, but sometimes, if the amount of games are really stocking up, I did used to find that hard. Sometimes if you played 4 or 5 midweeks in consecutive spells, just being out there again, especially if it was kind of games you were expected to win against teams in the lower reaches of the league, finding that motivation again, time and time again, can be quite hard because it's quite repetitive. So I think that's probably what you're saying there. It's a product of that. I think the deeper squads and the more elite players as well, that's what separates them. They can turn it on every time they step over the white line. But I did find it hard sometimes, especially with the fatigue as well, maybe that you're feeling, to have that real zip and energy physically and mentally every time you step over the white line. So you're probably onto something there. That was probably a product of the previous game and the busy start to the season as well. Probably just a bit of congestion, a few tired legs and minds.
Great insight. I don't like breaking my arm, slapping myself on the back, but this is kind of unique to this podcast, having a YouTuber and an ex-pro. You do get that level of insight from the experience of literally having done it. I'm just guessing. Anyway, Sam, here's some results for you from midweek. Burnley 1, Plymouth 0. Burnley move second. Cardiff 1, Millwall 0. Cardiff finally, in the words of The Rock, get a win. Coventry 3, Blackburn 0. Where did that come from? So that's the end of the Blackburn undefeated streak. First EFL win for Cov since August 16th. Luton 2, Oxford 2. After we thought, here we go with Luton, back-to-back wins. Nope. Norwich 1, Leeds 1. Might be an example of one of those games that both teams just ticked off and didn't lose and move along to the weekend. QPR 1, Hull 3. Wow, Hull. 3 wins in a row. Sunderland 2, Derby 0. Sunderland back to the top of the table. West Brom 0, Middlesbrough 1. Predicted by Sam Parkin. A little baggies wobble. I double took when you said that, but fair play, mate. You did call that. Preston 3, Watford 0. And a 2-goal salvo that we'll no doubt talk about by a certain player who the Watford fans may be a bit annoyed that he found a window to play before we think a ban's coming. Blades won. Sheffield United won. Swansea nil. That's 8 undefeated. 5 straight clean sheets for the Blades. Stoke 6. Pompey 1. I mean, we'll get into that later. And I said I wasn't going to mention it again. Bristol City nil. Sheffield Wednesday nil, which was hard work. Let's go to Parkin's pick. A normal gimmick on these 3-game week shows, Sam, we are looking at 2 potential 9-point heroes here, and they are Middlesbrough and Hull are both back-to-back wins. And Borough have done it without conceding a goal, but Hull have done it scoring 7 goals. Do you want to elucidate on Borough, and I'll talk about Hull? What a great start to the week. Talk about the 2 games, and can they do it? 9-point week potentially incoming.
Well, you'll have to educate me on who they're playing at the weekend.
Watford away.
Watford away. Well, there's a chance, isn't there? There's a strong chance, considering Watford's inconsistencies. But yeah, I thought the most complete performance of their season, no question, against Stoke at the weekend in both departments. And yeah, I thought of the Hawthorns, they had the better chances. Strange to see West Brom not creating much in front of their own supporters. Actually surprised me how good they've been on the road so far this season. You would have expected it to be the other way round. But yeah, I think some real important combinations and players returning for Middlesbrough. I think McGree gives them something extra on the left-hand side just because he obviously narrows in. I think that was a real feature of their success under Carrick, the playoff season. So he's impressive. I mean, Morris, you would argue in the midfield, didn't get the goal. Obviously, his partner Hackney got it in the week at West Brom. But you've got to say Morris is looking like one of the best signings so far this season. But I think the combination of those two, Hackney's starting to get the real plaudits now, and the spotlight's hugely on him in terms of potentially getting that move to the Premier League. But them as a combination, I thought they were the difference the other day. And Doak on the right-hand side looks like a player as well. There was that wonderful touch over his shoulder, which got him in for an opportunity on Palmer's goal, which was sumptuous. So they're looking really great. And, we've probably spoken on the last podcast, the highest XG, I think, still in the division. The touches in the box is 285. Incredibly, the next most 223. So, they're having I don't think I've got that noted down, but yeah, I mean, just in terms of the amount of ball they're having in the final third, it is vast, and they've probably not fully clicked into gear, the front players, as of yet. Latte Lather was really unfortunate with that header in the first half, which was well stopped, but him and Conway, I know Conway wasn't available, probably not hit their stride yet. And I would expect them to do so. I'm really confident that they've got enough. I don't know if that sentiment would be agreed with by all the Borough supporters, but I'd like to see a little bit more time for Conway and a little bit more time of the season. I think Latte Lath could still prove to be that goal getter that we all anticipated. So, no, I thought it was a brilliant win. I thought it was a deserved win. I'm really confident about their chances this season now, having had this start to the season where they've only lost, unfortunately, at Derby, and pretty well beaten maybe at Sunderland, the one game where they can probably accept their medicine. So, yeah, been a terrific start, and pleased that Michael Carrick is showing his unquestionable talent.
Brilliant stuff, Sam. And on the 3-game weeks, we are doubling up on the predictions. So you can find out later today whether Sam is going to forecast the 9-point week for Middlesbrough, or indeed Hull, Sam. And I keep harking back to that half-time 3 games ago. We did it on Sky. Stoke, they're losing, and Tim Volter is walking down the touchline and it's looking so, excuse my language, pissed off with life. And you're thinking this is not going well. They're on a losing streak. And then everything has pivoted, Sam. And all the things that we were told before the season, that Mr. Ilicali wanted exciting football. He wanted goals. He wanted attacking football. That's all now across these sort of 2.5 games been delivered, culminating in 3 straight victories. And obviously, everything this season is going to be judged against this decision to remove Liam Rossinio, who's just outside the playoffs last year, wasn't it? And bring in Tim Volta. I guess you could argue soft fixtures, Sam. Stoke for the first one, and then into the 3-game week. Cardiff at home after they've just sat their manager and QPR on a bit of a slippery run. But still, it does feel like Volta Ball, if it is a thing, is starting to happen. And I'm going to do similar to what you did, Sam. The new players, you can now see them being bedded in, can't you? Particularly across the front line. Miller actually got a start. The amount of Hull games we've watched where they've been struggling and they've brought Miller in. And I mean, you pointed him out for Preston last year, didn't you? And you're like, well, why doesn't he start? Well, he got the start at QPR and got a goal. Bedia, the big forward, like Hayden Hackney, is on for scoring in all 3 games this week as well. Balumi, he got a double at the weekend and he's now kind of easing himself in. And you've always been a proponent of Casey Palmer. Never quite manages to put a whole season together, but he needs this attacking team. So really, really exciting. Really pleased for Volta after looking at his face at halftime at Stoke. And they're in for the possible 9-point week. Very difficult away game at Norwich, though.
You've addressed me like a head teacher a few times before we came on air, so I just put my hand up to just chip in. It is funny. I don't know if it gets mentioned much with Hull, but and someone will correct me, no doubt. But it's funny seeing that back 4. You know, all guys we're very familiar with: Jones, McLaughlin, Coyle. Obviously, Drammer's come in on the left hand side, and then in front of that, you've got, you know, again, players that I'm really familiar with: Xavier Simons, Casey Palmer, Regan Slater, and it's just then a collection of new signings really that they sprinkled in the last time they really had a huge squad overturn, and again this year. So I'm actually working on their game at the weekend, which I'm really looking forward to. Attacking wise, they are looking incredibly exciting. I mean, they needed Pandur in goal the other day. I think
QPR I should have mentioned that. Yeah.
Started the game really well, so they needed their goalkeeper. But going forward, they look like one of the most exciting teams in the division. And absolutely, you're right to highlight that change, those changes at Stoke, which has just gathered a bit of momentum. So no, I'm thoroughly looking forward to seeing them. And yeah, just on Casey Palmer, I mean, he was a maverick at 16, 17. So I don't think you're probably ever going to get huge consistency from him. But you have got a match winner who is going to guarantee if you play him, he's going to win games throughout the season. And, you know, I love those types of players. I think they've probably unearthed one at Argyle in Al Hadj that I spoke of on the last podcast. Hamer, maybe at Sheffield United, slightly to a lesser extent because he's probably going to have a higher ceiling. But these guys, sometimes you just have to understand that every now and again the number's going to go up after an hour because they've not affected the game. But the next week they'll win you the 3 points, and Palmer is very much in that category. I love watching him play.
There we go. Good luck to Middlesbrough and Hull on the 9-point week. We've got to do a public apology. Shall I do a private apology and apologise to you, Sam, for talking to you like a head teacher? I did used to watch Sam from the terraces, so I am a fan of his. Do you accept my apology, Sam?
No problem, mate. No problem.
There we go. Now let's do a
unless some video footage is unearthed of you booing the life out of me after I spurned another opportunity at Portman Road.
That video footage does not exist, but video footage of us apologising to Cardiff is about to exist. So, Sam, rules in the prediction. If we both predict the team to lose and they prove us wrong and win, then we will try and issue a public apology. And I think we're probably both quite pleased to be issuing this public apology because we both kind of understandably, after 7 games without a victory, thought Cardiff were going to lose at home to Millwall. And they didn't. And not only did they not lose, they got themselves the first victory of the season. Perry NG, who doesn't look that big, but always does really well from set plays, got the only.
Oh, he's a big lad. No, he's a big lad. He's over 6 foot. Yeah, I would say he's over 6 foot. Yeah.
Okay, my bad. FootMob is coming up with the keeper as man of the match and Millwall having 11 shots and not scoring. But public apology to Cardiff. Congratulations, first win of the season. Anything to add, Sam?
No, just I think quite refreshing to see, the changes I certainly thought were necessary with the side, giving Colwill more minutes, giving Tanner more minutes, and they showed some good flashes. Robinson as well, I think, has been unlucky so far this season. So just that freshening up, it sounded like a really hard-fought battle, as you would anticipate. There was a couple of games in the midweek which I thought would be hugely important for the victors, namely the Cardiff game and that Luton game I looked at, which it just didn't matter how they tried to get some points on the board considering the last few weeks. So, yeah, really big win for them. I think it's going to be a tough season. I think that they need to sort out the managerial situation clearly, but Omar Reza is a kind of contemporary of mine. He was at Arsenal coming through. I was at Chelsea. He's had quite a varied and quite a long coaching career now. He's been around the block. He was in at Crawley, I think, if memory serves me right. He's always involved in the ex-player tournaments and keeps himself fit. I've seen him; he can still do a bit of a job a few years ago. So no, I'm pleased he's getting this opportunity, and I think just probably giving the supporters what they wanted as well, a little bit more excitement in the forward areas. Some players that they've been questioning why haven't they been getting more minutes was a sensible thing to do. And, having that set piece threat, I think for Millwall and Cardiff is always going to be evident and always going to be hugely important. So maybe no surprise in this game, separated by a dead ball.
Brilliant stuff. Public apology to Cardiff. Great win, first of the season. Sam, before we move on to Worldie of the Week, we cannot not talk about Stoke 6, Pompey 1. I've got 4 potential conversation threads for you. You can choose one of them. One is Tom Cannon scored 4 goals. Last player to do that, Yaku Maite for Reading at Luton in 2020. There were 5 goals between 43 and 53 minutes. I don't know if you've ever played in a game where the team you've been playing for has collapsed in that manner. You can talk to me about the first win for Narcis Pelak after 2 defeats. You can talk about Pompey and the collapse. Still no wins. They have played, Sam, 1st, 2nd, 3rd, 4th, 5th, and 7th in the current league table. So we can still run the argument of hard fixtures for Pompey, but you can't defend losing 6-1. What do you want to talk about, Sam?
Well, I think you got to start with the centre forward, have you not? I think, this early part of the season, new manager, narrative, obviously Portsmouth struggles, but I think you got to talk about the chap who's notched 4 after showing not particular great signs early part of his Stoke career. So, listen, I think he's a terrific finisher. I think if you're drawing up a list of the lads you would want an opportunity to fall to in the Championship, he would be right up there when you consider what he's shown at Preston and sparingly, albeit at Leicester. But you give him a chance, he is clinical. And I love that either foot as well.
What did Leicester pay for Cannon, Sam? Was it like 8 million or something crazy, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was big money, wasn't it? I think it was obviously Preston were desperate to get him, weren't they, after the loan spell? It was a kind of running saga where Ryan Lowe had to react to not getting him late in the day. And I think that had a costly effect maybe on their recruitment. But yeah, I mean, to see him knocking 2 dead balls, penalty and a free kick with his right, and then to finish with the style and the power that he did on his left side was pretty eye-catching. Little bit of good fortune maybe for the penalty award. I mean, I've slowed it down this morning and watched it 5 or 6 times.
I didn't get that, yeah.
It's a bit of a mess. He gets the toe on the ball, which is always kind of your job as the striker to get that toe and nudge it past the keeper or the defender. But it's a bit of an innocuous collision. However, if I flip it onto Portsmouth, listen, Stoke, very good. They're very aggressive without the ball. They're closing with real intensity. I think Berger is starting to dominate the midfield and get them really playing. Bay as well, off the left. And just the physicality of that front two, and just the pure fact that he's got Gallagher and Cannon in close proximity. I mean, those two should be a handful for any defence. Yeah, so on to Pompey. I mean, it was a catastrophic night for the goalkeeper, first and foremost, and they've got Nicholas Schmidt, an Austrian, 27 years old, on the bench. His time could be now, because that could be tough for Norris to recover from.
Great interview, by the way, by Moose on YouTube after the game. Really honest, without being pandering or silly. Kind of really framed it really well, I thought.
Yeah, you're going to get that from him. He's brilliant with the press. He's very honest, and he'll be balanced, because he's having to field, for example, the two centre halves, Paul and McIntyre at the moment, who probably aren't ready with the amount of time they've had out to be playing back-to-back games, as we spoke of at the top of the programme today, top of the pod. It's a problem that, they've been left with, because maybe there isn't a real depth of quality there. There probably isn't ready-made good Championship players. There's a lot of potential in this Pompey squad, and inevitably there's going to be a few fingers pointed at the recruitment at the moment over the summer.
Seen it this morning, Sam. Seen it, yeah.
Because of the results. But I think you just have to be balanced about the start they've had, about the difficulty they've had with injuries. A little bit alarming to see the leaders in the squad having off nights last night, the likes of Parkin and Ogilvie, but we'll allow them that. And now, as I said, in the last few weeks, the season really starts now for Portsmouth, and they're under a little bit of pressure to get going against Oxford next time out. But I think, even in such a devastating defeat last night, such a blow for everyone, considering that they've more or less been in every game this season, maybe not the West Brom one at home. But I think optimism about those centre-halves being available again. I think Potts in the midfield, Mahoney getting a goal as well at the top end. It doesn't feel like it's all doom and gloom. And that's a real positive. And that's probably a product of just how good Mousinho's been, but how good he's been off the pitch in the manner that you just spoke of as well. So I think the place, despite the tough start to the season, is still a relatively content club, supporters. But now they need to rally and they need to start getting results.
They very much do. Get your thoughts in, especially, were you a Pompey fan in the away end last night? We've seen some great footage on Twitter of, I think fan bases go past disappointment and into gallows humour at some point, don't they? And we certainly saw that from the Pompey lot. Let's look at Worldie of the midweek. Right, Beans, we're not live today. We're pre-recorded. We, Sam, are going to let the audience choose the Worldie of the week. There is a poll up on the Benjamin Bloom Football Channel community tab where you can vote, and it's very one-sided at the moment, although we always have this with the polls. So your four choices for midweek Worldie of the week: Tyler Goodrum, beautiful curler. Really enjoyed talking about him already this season for Oxford at Luton. Job Bellingham, a sizzler, rising into the roof of the net for Sunderland against Derby. Cody Drammer, who kind of with no backlift, just drilled it into the corner for Hull at QPR. And a really beautiful half volley in off the post from Ali McCann for Preston. Get involved, go and vote on the poll. But Sam, I want to ask you about another Preston player. Going to throw this grenade in. What is his first name? Is it Milutin Osmajic? Let me just double check that.
Probably go with Millie, if that is the case.
Okay, Millie Osmajic scored 2 goals for Preston. First one looked a bit offside to me, but
yeah, I did check that a couple of times. Yeah.
Don't have VAR.
Inconclusive.
Yeah, we'll go with inconclusive, Sam. Osmajic has admitted the charge. I think we'll say no more to keep our noses clean on allegedlys and whatnots here. But, okay, let me say it a different way. Peter Risdale has said that Osmajic has admitted the charge and it's back with the FA. If you're a Watford fan, Sam, and we think if Suarez got 10-game ban for Liverpool, if you're a Watford fan and you're a bit annoyed that this guy's able to play and score twice past you, or is it just the due process and it is what it is? Bad luck, Watford.
Yeah. I don't think the supporters would focus in on that too much. I think they've got enough to worry about with their own squad. And listen, I think it's been a relatively happy camp at Vicarage Road this season, but they didn't turn up in that second half. The big moment of the game
lots of chances in the first half, didn't they?
Yeah, the big moment of the game was Barr's early chance, wasn't it? Wonderfully saved by Woodman. And even when they were chasing a deficit, they had good chances. Bayo, I think, had a one-on-one as well, which somehow he managed to miss. So no, I wouldn't think they'd focus on that. I think we don't know what the process is. I don't know how these things work, but of course, I think if you hone in on it, you would think, possibly he would be banned already. But again, I don't know the process they have to go through. He's going to get punished, and rightly so, if he's deemed to be guilty or if he's admitted the offence. So they're going to miss him, Preston, in a big way, because he looked fit last night. He looked strong. He looked like what they've been missing. They look a lot better, especially in that second period under Heckingbottom. Interestingly, that he's had a look at a few different shapes, and it looked to me like, Brady and Kessler Hayden were their wing backs again last night. Brady getting forward to really good effect, and Kessler Hayden, I think, the standout player in the performance. So to miss the centre forward for any period, that's going to be a blow, especially in the aftermath of a brilliant win. And Emil Rees, for whatever reason, he just looks a little bereft of confidence right now. Just the one goal for him so far this season. So yeah, big blow for them, but he'll have to earn his money, old Heckingbottom.
There we go. Time for cause for concern. As we looked at teams moving for a potential 9-point week, Sam, it stands to reason, unfortunately, that we've got to look at 3 teams. One of them a massive surprise as well, although not to Sam according to the predictions, looking towards a 0-point week. What we're going to do, Sam, we're going to bracket Derby and QPR together because they play each other at the weekend. So at least we know one of those two is not scoring 0 points this week. But, Sam, I'd be interested to pick your brain why you said early season baggies wobble. I think you meant very short term, didn't you? But West Brom lost at the weekend to Sheffield Wednesday, and they lost in midweek to Borough. I know we've kind of tuned in on Borough earlier in the show, but just a quick line on West Brom, because we were so excited about what Corberon was doing. And is it just the grind of the Championship that you will lose back-to-back games and just start winning again?
I think so. Yeah. They gave themselves a mountain to climb, didn't they? Sheffield Wednesday nearly climbed it. So I think, teams are going to really focus in when they play against West Brom. They know they're going to have to be at it. It's become a huge game, I think, in the Championship. Probably the start to the season they've had. Corberan having better players at his disposal, to further his reputation, but also to go one step further with this really talented group of players. I don't think they're going to be so superior that this isn't going to happen at times this season. I don't think they're going to, romp to automatic promotion or, have a record-breaking season. I don't see them having that quality in comparison to some of the best teams maybe we've seen over the years in the Championship. So I think this would be liable to happen. And, as it was on Tuesday, I thought, Borough played really, really well in this game. So, yeah, I think it's how they respond to it. A little bit, I would suppose, uncreative in comparison to how they've been this season, last time out. But no, I wouldn't be overly concerned. I just felt that was a really difficult game. I think 2 really difficult games. I think Sheffield Wednesday at Hillsborough, they've been performing okay the last few games. I think they're going to be a decent side this year, despite their early season wobbles. And Borough, you look at the statistics, they have had a good start to the season in performances, maybe just not the results to tally. So no shame. And let's see how they respond at the weekend.
Derby and QPR then, who play at the weekend. Obviously, we didn't get to talk about that insane goal that Sargent cut back for Science, which was brilliant finish, by the way. But the ball clearly was. We talk about subjective and objective when we're analysing referee, and that ball was miles out of play. But Derby went on and lost the game, and then went up to Sunderland. In terms of Derby in isolation, obviously lost 2-0. Sorry to finish that thought. I know they lost the game before, so it's 3 straight defeats. Are we just thinking hard fixtures for Derby, and you've just come up from League One?
Yeah, it's become a big game at the weekend, hasn't it? For obvious reasons, just because, Paul Warne will look at the start that QPR have had and highlight that this is an opportunity to take points, probably in a more confident mood than he would have been approaching the Sunderland and Norwich games. I understand Ozo was missing from the midfield, the loanee from Palace, who's been a real big player for them so far this season.
Is that fairly mid-term, that injury, Sam? I think
not sure.
Correct us in the comments. I'm not entirely sure. So
no, I've not been across it. I just had a conversation with someone who was working on the game and said that he was a big miss for them.
Yeah.
I think the goalkeeper's been very good, hasn't he? Obviously, the home form until recently particularly strong. And QPR, to me, it feels like the new signings haven't really got going yet, especially in an attacking sense. Maybe Dembele apart. So I think they'll be, if they can, really excited to get Chair and Dembele in the same lineup somehow.
What's the Scandinavian fella called as well? Madsen, is it?
Yeah, Madsen. He scored from the spot, I think.
He did
he not?
Yeah.
In the whole defeat. So, I mean, new contract for Marty Cifuentes. So everything, off the pitch has got continuity and a little bit of rhythm. And I think the QPR fans after the last few years are pretty balanced that this is a really intelligent coach with huge potential. So I think it might take a little bit of time. It's not been perfect by any stretch. There's been quite a few indifferent performances, but I think you have to trust that QPR will be fine and the results will start to turn quickly, possibly this weekend.
There you go. We don't want to see anyone land on 0 points, but still the potential for, well, it won't be all 3 teams, as we know, because 2 play each other, but for any or a number of West Brom, Derby or QPR to do it. Let's look ahead to round 9 coming up at the weekend. I've done it again, Sam. Schoolboy error. I've put Leeds in a poll. So I think we know what the mouth-watering matchup's going to end up being. Here's your round 9 fixture, Sam. Sunderland Leeds, Burnley Preston is a derby. Norwich Hull looks fascinating. Who are you? Are you at that game, or are you just doing it from studio?
Yeah. For Sky, yes. My first 12:30, I think, of the season. Yeah, Norwich Hull. So really looking forward to that. 2 new managers, free scoring. Loads of attacking players to like. So I haven't got my nose stuck into my nose.
So you're on Co-Coms, Sam?
Co-Coms, yeah. I haven't got stuck
amazing.
into my prep as of yet. But I'm really looking forward to seeing these 2 sides. I think when we come to the predictions, I could be totting up a few goals for this one.
By the way, thanks for your support, everyone, for Sam from the Plymouth game. I know it's such an easy win for people on social media burying the Co-Coms guy, but loads of positive feedback, and we really appreciate it. And check Sam out for Norwich Hull as well. Pompey Oxford, battle of ex-League One teams, one doing better than the other. Coventry Sheffield Wednesday, Derby QPR we mentioned, Plymouth Blackburn, Sheffield United versus Luton was a Premier League game last year. Swansea Stoke, Watford versus Borough, West Brom Millwall, and seems like they've had a couple of them having played Swansea recently. Oh God, what do they call them? 7-side derby, is it? Bristol City v Cardiff. And fans they get so triggered, Sam, fans, if you don't get if it's not a rivalry or you get it right or wrong. Anyway, you will not be surprised in the slightest, Sam, to know that with 78% so far, our mouthwatering matchup is Sunderland Leeds. And do you know what? I'm going to stand up for the Leeds fans. I'm going to defend that one. I think it's the right choice. Anyway, Sunderland back to the top of the table, Sam. And Leeds have got problems with injuries now. Ampadu is out for a while. Grueff went out in midweek, and Daniel Farker made very, very big mention that that's the kind of middle of their team gone. So is this actually on a Friday night? So these guys talk about 3-game weeks and how many days it actually is. These guys having to play on Friday as well. Is this a good time to play Leeds, Sam?
Yeah, I can see your thought process there. It looked, after we suggested it was going to be a free-for-all for the strikers at Carrow Road, it didn't look like there was an abundance of chances.
It was a midweek winter 3-game week championship game already, wasn't it?
Yeah, where obviously you'd be absolutely thrilled to take the maximum points, but in the cold light of day, it's not the worst point for either. Another stylish goal from Ramazani, wasn't it, for Leeds? I think the most interesting thing going into this, aside from the injuries and how Leeds are gonna shape up for this game, is that Sunderland are very, very content not to have the ball. It would seem. Obviously, this may level out to a degree later in the season, but Leeds are almost the polar opposite. They will.
Are you harking back to the Middlesbrough game for a pattern?
Yeah, possibly. I just think that it's an interesting quote when you've got a team that are absolutely flying, getting so much credit and so many plaudits, and they're not a team maybe that are playing, the silky possession, slow. Well, it doesn't have to be slow, but you know what I mean. The football building through the thirds. I think Sunderland are, quite content to play fast and to play on the break on occasions. And I tell you what. It's Isidore, the centre forward. He could be. I've spoken about the missing piece of jigsaws at other clubs. I think in terms of the front men this season, he could be that. I'm talking about the nature of his 2 finishes, but also the mobility. Almost looks like that type of front man who could probably do a row across the positions, could play wide, really dynamic.
So 2 starts, 2 goals. Sam, is that right? On loan from Zenit St. Petersburg.
Yeah, and a bit older, I think, kind of late to mid-20s.
24.
Oh, is he? Is he? Sorry, yeah, maybe I got him confused with someone else. But I just think that type of finisher, in terms of the last couple of goals, Mayenda was doing a pretty good job, wasn't he? But it sounds like he's going to be out maybe until after the international break. So to have another new signing come in and show so much, and I think loads of ingredients that could help Sunderland, is incredibly encouraging. So, and they've responded. That's the sign, isn't it? We've been talking today about the how tough it is to keep going in the Championship. They've responded from their defeats, won the next game, and they take on arguably one of the top teams in the division this weekend. Let's see how they go.
Yeah, I just think Leeds, all the Leeds fans were kind of pointing out on the predictions when we went for the free-for-all. And I mean, you just mentioned it, Sam. Leeds aren't giving away anything in terms of chances. And, if you take away the fact that a penalty is a free shot from goal from 12 yards, I know lies and statistics. It is what it is. So
it probably does feel akin to maybe Tuesday then. When you think Sunderland haven't conceded at the Stadium of Light yet, I don't think so. No, I think 4 from 4 at home without conceding. Just the own goal at Pompey wasn't there, and then the goals they shipped at Argyle and Watford. So
big statement for either team, though, Sam. If Sunderland win it and they beat a real quality Leeds side, you say, "Oh, they're for real." If Leeds go there and win, you're like, "Right here we go, incoming 90 points for Leeds."
I'd completely agree. Yeah, I think the Middlesbrough victory was a bit of a statement win for Sunderland, but this would be a different kettle of fish. Absolutely, even with Leeds' injury problems, you always feel, last season maybe you didn't have this sentiment, but now I do feel that Leeds on their travels will have learnt from last season, the early part when they went down by a 1-0 on multiple occasions. So yeah, I wouldn't anticipate that maybe happening again as readily this season, but I don't think there'll be more than a couple of goals probably in this game.
Looking forward to it. Yeah, big one. Mouthwatering matchup, Sunderland versus Leeds on Friday night. Right, let's finish this off with the quiz. Right, huge double thank you to poor old Fev, because he sent us some questions on Monday, didn't he? And I had to tell him, oh no, we're going to record on Thursday. And of course, they're time-sensitive questions, aren't they? So, yeah, greatly appreciated, Fev. And go and give him a follow at Fev's Football. So we're currently all square in match play, Sam. So I'll give you the choice. Do you want to answer first or ask?
I think I'll go first this week, please, mate.
Okay. Morning, Ben, says Fev. Your question for Sam. Thinking outside the box or shooting outside the box? Which teams have scored the most goals from shots outside the box, not including free kicks? Open play only. So it's 6 of the best. You got 4 guesses to try and get. Oh, he's changed the rules here. 0, 1, 2, or 3 points.
Oh, I've seen a lot of football this season already in the Championship, and I feel like I've seen a lot from outside the box as well. No idea is my answer to that. Let's just think about the top goal scorers.
Yeah, I'll let you look at the table, Sam.
Let's go for Leeds straight off the bat.
No
Leeds. Oh, it's got to be Burnley.
Yeah, they're clinical. In fact, Sam, they are number 1, I believe.
Yeah, Burnley got about 3 or 4 from range against Cardiff in that one game, didn't they? What about the aforementioned Sunderland?
No. So that's 1 for 3.
Can't even think who the big scorers are. West Brom, Moet.
Yes, Moet's probably in there on his own, isn't he? So 2 from 4, Sam. Your answers were Burnley, Sheffield United, thanks Gus Hamer, Derby. That guy,
I got that.
Kudmine, scored a couple from outside the box, didn't he? Stoke. West Brom, you got Blackburn Rovers. Lewis Travis, maybe.
Yeah, okay, I probably would have gone Argyle with another one.
Okay, 2 for 4, Sam. What's my question, fella?
Okay. Which teams have scored the most goals from right-footed shots this season?
Oh my God. No bloody clue. Is Josh Madger right-footed?
I would say naturally he's right-footed.
Okay, let's go for West Brom then.
No.
Well, they did score headers in the first game.
Yeah, headers left-footed. I've brought that to the party a few times, mate, on the podcast. You've clearly been switching off when I've been talking. Yeah,
I'm trying to host it and go on to the next item.
He's a master of all finishes, old Madger. Yeah, he's not there.
Oh, God. I'll go for the same logic as you that Burnley are clinical. Burnley
are joint most with 9.
Okay. Leeds
are not there.
Oh, damn. So I need this one for the draw then, yeah?
Yep. God, there's some curveballs in here.
Oh, I'm not going to be swayed by that. I'm just going to go for Sunderland because they're top of the table.
Sunderland are there, with 8. Yeah, so you had
what were the curveballs?
Is that you? So you had Burnley, you had Burnley and Blackburn with 9.
Okay.
And then you had Oxford, Millwall, Sunderland, Norwich, joint 8.
Oxford and Millwall. Wow. Is that Watmore for Millwall, I guess?
Yeah, I was trying to just think of a few there. You had Coburn got 1, I think. Watmore, you're right. Norwich, Sainz has been whipping a few in, and he right-footed. Mm-hmm. Goodwin with the right the other day. Yeah,
very much so.
He's had a few, and Harris, smashed a few in, and he with his right, yeah.
There you go. Podcast over, ladies and gentlemen. Thanks for bearing with us through the 3-game week. Easy for me to say. Look, if your team didn't get much of a mention this week, fear not, because obviously will be a show on Monday, and then in the international break, we can really focus in on anything on that second show that you want to talk about. Sam, we will see you for co-commentary of Norwich v Hull, and we will see you later on in the predictions today. Thank you, everybody, for watching and listening, and we will see you again for the Championship Check-In podcast.